Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Cyprian, but you can call me Chip. And today we're going to be discussing objective morality. Is there such a thing? I think there is. Actually, I think there are cases when morality can be objective. But you know what? Before I spoil the video, let me tell you a bit of a backstory. So a couple of days ago, I had a conversation with a friend regarding veganism. And pretty much all arguments boil down to whether morality is objective or not. He claimed that morality is merely a product of society. In other words, if society decides that something is moral, then it becomes moral. I then proceeded with asking if slavery was ever moral, since not long ago society deemed it as moral, and he answered with yes. While I don't think slavery was ever moral, I do agree to some extent with the idea that some morals are subjective, and when enough people follow the same morals, they become intersubjective and thus society-driven. However, there are moral rules such as slavery, such as rape, that are just always immoral. And why is that? I think the answer lies in a very simple concept: consent. Let me explain. Okay, so let's assume we have Mark who wants to do an action that affects Ned. Now the question is this action moral? Well, my initial train of thought goes like this. Did Ned, the individual on the receiving end of the action, give consent? If yes, then yeah, it's probably moral. If no, then we have to ask ourselves, does Ned need it? And to clarify, by need, I mean, will he die if that action is not done onto him? If yes, then it's probably moral. Side note, not giving consent could mean two different things, either refusing consent or never being asked for it, and thus never actually giving it. So I think that if Ned refused consent, then even if his life depended on this action, Mark doing this action onto Ned may actually be immoral. But let's not overcomplicate it. If Ned does need this action to survive, the next question is, does Mark need this action to survive? If not, then it's most likely immoral. If he does need it to survive, then it could be moral, but it's probably a gray area since it depends a lot on the action being done. But we're not done yet. Because if we take a simple example like Mark wants to throw a surprise birthday party to Ned, then it could seem like that's immoral. And I don't know about you, but I don't think someone doing something nice for someone else is immoral. So I'll clarify. When I refer to the action being done, I mean that it will generate some form of pain or suffering onto Ned, the receiver of the action. So now let's jump to some examples to make it more clear. Is it moral to have my pet do surgery? Well, in this case, Ned is my pet, and I start asking myself, did my pet give consent? Since no pet would give consent to go into surgery, I assume no. So then, does my pet need the surgery? In other words, if they don't have the surgery, they either die or suffer greatly. And I assume the answer is yes. So then, yeah, it's moral. Next example. Is it moral to slap my partner? Did my partner give consent for slapping? If yes, then okay. But let's assume they didn't. Would my partner die or suffer greatly if I don't slap them? Do I have the magic slap that keeps people alive? If yes, then it's moral. But since there's nobody that slapped somebody to life, then let's move on. Is it moral to put down my pet? Now, we're getting into the weeds of it. Well, did my pet give consent? Most likely not. Does my pet need to be put down? And I think here is where it's probably a yes. Otherwise, why would you put your pet down, right? You usually do that because they're in great pain and existence would just mean more pain and suffering for them. So then it's moral. Of course, if you put them down because they don't really need it and you're just annoyed by their presence, then it's immoral. And the final example, which I want to end on, is it moral to kill an animal for food? Well, we know that the animal did not consent to being killed. We know that the animal does not need to die. So then the question boils down to, do you need to kill the animal to survive? If you're in a survival situation when you have no other choice but to kill that animal, sure, it's probably moral. But most people are usually in a situation where they can go to the supermarket, choose between a plant-based meal and an animal-based one. So in most situations, it's not moral to kill an animal for food. #GoVegan. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. Like it if you liked it. Subscribe if you like my channel. Let me know what your thoughts are on the objectivity of morality. Let me know if you want me to tackle more moral issues. I generally enjoy researching and talking morality. So yeah, and see you in the next one. Bye.